How may I help you, Commander?
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal. Anything else, Commander?
That'll be all.
I'll be here if you... Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
Commander, can I help you with something?
I'm more interested in just talking for a bit.
I'm good, Shepard. Ready for anything. We live, we'll get loud, and spill some drinks on the Citadel.
We'll talk later.
Commander.
Commander.
I assume everything is going well up here?
Good for now. Fractured my thumb on the mute.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
People are talking out there, and I hear it all. You're a brave man spending so much time with Jack. I'm afraid to even go near that part of the ship. I guess there's someone out there for everyone, even her. I really appreciate your help with the Hawk heist. I've been going through Keiichi's gray box. It's so nice to have him back, even in that form. I miss him. I'm glad to hear Thane and his son are back in touch. It'll be hard, but I think they'll be fine. Come back later. I'm sure I'll have more to talk about. That painting has a special place in my heart. An art collector hired me to steal it. When I got there, the painting was gone. On the way out, I saw it being hauled off by another thief. I chased him down, tackled him, and took the painting. That's how Keiji and I met. We never did turn it into our employers. The red rose. That used to be my calling card when I first started out. In place of whatever I took, I left a single red rose. It wasn't until I met Keiji that I realized how silly it was. He had a way of making you realize when you were just being sentimental. I stole that on a dare, believe it or not. There was a big museum show coming to Ilium. Artifacts from Earth going on tour. Very high security. Keiji dared me to steal this. So I broke in, hacked the security, put a few guards to sleep, and replaced the piece with a worthless duplicate. They never knew the difference. My first museum job. Nowhere near the last. That's my favorite piece, painted for me by a child prodigy from Elysium. She was the cutest thing. She was kidnapped by slavers who hoped to sell her on Omega. I wasn't about to let that happen. I set up an idea as a buyer's rep to get a special tour of the slaver's vessel. Once aboard, I freed the girl and smuggled her off the ship. She painted that for me on the way home. I'll never forget how it felt to watch her work. Don't laugh, I like those books. Romance novels, crime novels, the classics. There's something about the feel of actual paper in your hands, their musty smell. It's relaxing. Keiji used to find books for me while on the job. Some of these are more valuable than the objects he was hired to steal.
Do you need something?
Have a few minutes to talk?
Very well. I had been recording a message for Kolyat.
How are things going with him?
It is difficult. All things worth keeping are. I never explained. I suppose the story of my wife's death took you by surprise.
I figured you'd explain to me when you were ready.
I appreciate your patience. I kept my work clear of our home life. I assumed that would be enough to protect Erica. That memory I mentioned before. Laser dot trembles on the target's skull. The smell of spice on a spring wind. Sunset eyes defiant in a scope. That was Erica. That was how I met her. She saw my targeting laser as she walked by and threw herself in the way.
I guess she impressed you.
She woke me up. Her body trembles. Not fear. Indignation. Her mouth moves. How dare you? You and I trained to sacrifice ourselves to save others. How often does a civilian step in the way of a bullet to protect someone they've never met? I thought she was the goddess Hirashu. She met my eyes through the scope, and my purpose faltered.
So how did she go from blocking your shot to having your children?
I had to meet her. The memory possessed and endowed me. I fell on my knees before her, begged her pardon. She introduced me to the world beyond my work. Eventually, she forgave me. Later, she loved me.
When you talked to Kolyat, you said she died.
I let myself become complacent. I thought Erica and Kolyat were safe. I stayed away too long, and my enemies came for her.
Who came for her?
Batarians, a slaver ring that was preying on Hanar outer colonies. I'd killed their leaders. They paid the shadow broker to find out who I was. But they were afraid of me, so they went after her.
You told Kolyat that you hunted her killers down.
Erica woke me up. When she passed, I returned to my battle sleep. My body hunted her killers, murdered them. I was taught to grant death quickly, cleanly, to minimize suffering. I let them linger.
You were operating on instinct. By your own rules, you can't blame yourself.
But I made the choice to hunt them. They're the only lives I've ever taken of my own choice. The only deaths on my own conscience. I haven't spoken about my wife and I don't think I ever have. I didn't have anyone left to tell it to.
Thane, the worst thing is to face death with regrets. You're part of my crew, and I consider you a friend. If there's anything I can help you with, just ask.
I've never been part of a team. Assassins tend to be solitary. I'm learning the virtues of facing death with others at your side. It's a work in progress.
I can't believe the collectors were once Prothean.
Commander, those provisions you provided were perfect. I owe you. I've already thrown together some of my calamari gumbo. Here, try a bite. Truth told, it's based on an Asari recipe. Seems a little cannibalistic to me with their tentacle heads and all, but they ain't no good grub. Anyway, thanks again. You really came through.
Shepard, need me for something?
Have you got a minute?
Sure, just killing time anyway. I wanted to thank you again for your help with Sidonis. Whatever happens with the Collectors or the Reapers or whoever else comes after us, I know you'll get the job done.
You actually think we'll find something worse than Collectors or Reapers?
I like to expect the worst. There's a small chance I'll be pleasantly surprised.
I couldn't do this without you, Garrus.
Sure you could. Not as stylishly, of course. It's strange going into a suicide mission on a human ship. Your people don't prepare for high-risk operations the way Turians do.
I thought you'd be used to high-risk operations on human ships. I mean, think about tracking Saren to Ilos.
Sure, but that was quick. We raced out, landed, blew up some Geth, and saved the galaxy. This time we've got Miranda and Cerberus and that AI all telling us what we're up against. I think I preferred blind optimism.
Honestly, Garrus, what do you think our chances are?
Honestly, the Collectors killed you once, and all they did is piss you off. I can't imagine they'll stop you this time. But an unmapped area, advanced technology, and the Collectors. We're going to lose people. No way around that. Not a happy analysis, I know. Don't worry. I won't spread it around. And I'm with you regardless.
Do you ever regret leaving CSEC or the Turian military?
Not for a minute. When it comes down to it, Shepard, I don't think I'm a very good Turian. When a good Turian hears a bad order, he follows it. He might complain, but he knows his place. I just don't see the point in staying quiet and polite. Not when the galaxy is at stake.
How do Turian crews get ready for high-risk missions?
With violence, usually. Turian ships have more operational discipline than your alliance, but fewer personal restrictions. Our commanders run us tight, and they know we need to blow off steam. Turian ships have training rooms for exercise, combat sims, even full-contact sparring. Whatever lets people work off stress.
You mean Turian ships have crewmen fighting each other before a mission?
It's supervised, of course. Nobody's going to risk an injury that interferes with the mission, and it's a good way to settle grudges amicably. I remember right before one mission, we were about to hit a Batarian pirate squad. Very risky. This recon scout and I had been at each other's throats. Nerves, mostly. She suggested we settle it in the ring.
I assume you took her down gently?
Actually, she and I were the top-ranked hand-to-hand specialists on the ship. I had reach, but she had flexibility. It was brutal. After 9 rounds, the judge called it a draw. There were a lot of unhappy bettors in the training room. We ended up holding a tiebreaker in her quarters. I had reach, but she had flexibility. More than one way to work off stress, I guess.
Thanks for the talk, Garrus. I'll see you later.
Sure thing.